Alright, so greetings to everyone. I am Pauline Ngongang, and firstly I want to apologize for not hosting our live stream. It was expected to be on Sunday, the 26th of February. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we're not able to be live and communicate with the public about the present happening. But we thank God that everything went well as expected, and today we are live and we're going to talk about the unwavering self, meaning your authentic self. So from unwavering, what do you understand by it? When we talk about unwavering, what is your understanding of it? Someone would say it's all about your firmness, all about your authenticity, all about your grasp of how to hold things, even when it's difficult, even when it doesn't make sense. Even when it doesn't make sense. So, a few minutes. Oh, sorry. There. Looks like today I have problems with the volume. Okay. Even when it doesn't make sense, you still hold on to that. Most times we face a lot of difficulties understanding ourselves because we lack that self-reconnection with ourselves all the time. We don't spend quality time being alone. We feel that spending time with ourselves, it's boring. It adds no value to our existence. It's less productive, let's say so. If you see, we have introverts and we have extroverts in this world. We have individuals who... Oh God, this connection. Can you hear me? We have individuals who spend most of their time communicating with others, trying to have a perfect picture of that they are able to master their words and their entourage, the environment. While an introvert would prefer being... Oh my God, just give me a few minutes. Sorry, just give me a few minutes. I'm having some technical issues. Technical issues. My God. So let's ride on. It's about being yourself. How well do you do it? How well do you try to develop? How well do you try to picture? How well do you want to be an individual of courage, of admiration, of pride, of understanding? It comes now with yourself. And how well do you describe yourself? Do you describe yourself as love, or do you describe yourself as an instrument or a property? Identification is a very important aspect in everyday activities. If you wake up in the morning, say, what day is this? Oh, it's Tuesday. Meaning, if it's Tuesday, I have class, I have to go to work. Now, it programs your mind on how to handle situations. It programs your mind on how to deal with the scenarios or with the unexpected circumstances throughout that day. So that I'm asking, how do you describe yourself? Are you love, or do you use yourself as describe yourself as an instrument? So we talk about Jay Shetty. In his new book, he spoke about the 8 rules of love. He described love as love is about learning to love ourselves in order to love others. Okay? Love is about learning ourselves in order to love others. Before this live stream, I wrote it on my profile asking this question: if you're being asked by a random bystander on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? Will you be satisfied by your response, or will you prefer hiding the honesty of your thoughts? Let's go again. If you're being asked by a random bystander on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? Will you be satisfied by your response, or will you prefer hiding the honesty of your thoughts? Love itself is a very broad language. It's a very broad scenario. It's like our imaginations. Our imagination doesn't have limitations. Our imagination doesn't have limitation. It's so broad. That's why we have desires, and those desires are just so broad, abstract. It's our individual self, our subconscious, and how we train ourselves to have those limitations, to say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm trying to work on this. I'm trying to focus on this. So that's how love is. That's how love is so broad. And looking to love, we talk about the 5 love language, which is words of affirmations, acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. That's it about love languages. And those love languages, do you reflect them to yourself? Okay? And before we go to the description or the explanations of what it entails to be or to develop that self-love, that unwavering self, the questions I'll ask you is, do you see yourself as an entity of your own? Do you see yourself as a precious jewel? We still go back to that question again. If you're being asked by a bystander, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? When we look into the area of self, we think of a negative aspect of torture as well as desperation. In terms of torture, it's not about an external activity just to gain an information, while it's a practice of inflicting severe pain or suffering on someone as a punishment in order to force them to do something or say something. Why? Desperation is a state of despair, typically on one which results in rash or extreme behavior. If you look into those both terms, you see that torture is more about whereby if you're able to get that satisfaction of yourself, what do? you look for a victim, someone who's vulnerable, whereby you have to inflict pain for you to get an information, to do something you want them to do for yourself. Why desperation is something like internal. It's like result. You want it now. If you don't get that satisfaction about yourself, you want it now. It's immediate. These are the one of the things we face, and we don't identify them in those various terms. Why? Maybe because we don't spend much time with ourselves. We don't spend quality time with ourselves. We don't communicate. We don't do act of service to ourselves. And also maybe we don't see ourselves as an entity of our own, but rather we picture ourselves as being properties. And there are different ways in which we can communicate our love, whereby we talk about how do we express ourselves, how do we listen to ourselves, how do we write ourselves, how do we feel ourselves in certain situations where we can use our words, we can use our mouth to communicate that we need this thing, or we feel contented with this particular term or this particular situation where we find ourselves. And there are those two types of love. This will be described by J. Shetty. He says we have the natural love, whereby it's from self-confidence, wholeness, natural existence. Then we have the trained love, which is experience and entertained thoughts. With the natural love, how do we acknowledge that? What is our level of awareness? What's our level of awareness? And this kind of natural love comes with gratitude. Are you satisfied of who you are? Are you contented being alive? Are you saying to yourself, oh, I'm happy? It brings me a lot of joy. Do we actually say that to ourselves? Or rather, we have to do an activity to show that we are happy. We need to pay a price for us to show that we are loved. And this trained love we talk about is experience. It's about, let's take it to the cultural aspect of it, our religious aspect, where we grew up, the environment. It's part of a trained love and an entertained thought, whereby we watch movies, whereby we read books, other activities that it's been inborn in us on how to love ourselves, how to understand ourselves. So if you are listening and it's making a lot of sense to you and you are really enjoying this session, make sure you leave a thumbs up. And if you have questions, just write them in the comment section. I will do my best to respond to them. So let's write on. So we have spoken about the natural love and the trained love. I'm sure you are asking yourself and wondering, can you train yourself to love? Can you train yourself to be authentic, to be unwavering? Can you do that? Of course, it's possible. If you're able to have experiences, you're able to have entertained thoughts about yourself, what makes you think you can train yourself? You can build a momentum whereby external forces or external relationship, external love adds more value, not about replacing, it's about adding more value to the kind of love or the kind of love you want, or the kind of love you want to receive. Okay? So how can it be trained? How can you have that unwavering love? How can you have a love whereby it's natural, it's authentic, it's reliable, it's courageous, it's joy, it's peace. First, you practice being in the moment. You practice being in the moment. Do you actually enjoy the moment, or rather we complain about the moment? Do we actually say we are satisfied with whatever we have right now, or whether we complain by saying it doesn't make sense, I'm not happy? Because you believe that tomorrow will be another day with different opportunities. You don't accept, you don't enjoy the moment of today and saying that tomorrow's another day, I'm gonna experience that. When time is gone, it doesn't come back. The best memories are the memories whereby we make them instantly. It's not after, it's instantly, whereby we take opportunity of our environment, of our situations, of the people around us, and that becomes memory. Secondly, we go with the flow and not by force. When we talk about the flow, do you complain with the situation you face yourself in? Do you always try to say, I'm tired of this life, it's unfortunate for me, I can't really achieve what I want to get, or it doesn't make sense at all? And most of the times when we say to languages, or most of the time we describe ourselves, the adjective we use, it reflects on our mood, it reflects on how we see ourselves, it reflects on how well we are satisfied being ourselves. This is just a reminder that we are talking about self, about your authentic self, not about individuals adding you more love to what you know, but rather it's about yourself. How well do you describe yourself? How well do you want to be a person of pride, a person whereby you don't rely on external love to make you happy? Your self-love, it's most important for you to build your mind, for you to create an entity of wholeness. The third thing we'll talk about, acceptance. How well do we accept ourselves? How well do we think we can be able to handle situations? How well do we think we can say, there are things I can handle because I'm human. There are things I can change because I'm human. I just have to accept the situation. I face myself and look further to better opportunities, better satisfaction. Imagine saying this to yourself about being acceptance, implementing acceptance into your dictionary, into your self-routine. Do you know that there are situations, or there will be circumstances, there will be events in your life where you are no longer moved? You are no longer in a state of confusion or facing anxiety or fear, because you have accepted it. And the more you accept situation you know you can't change, the more you are able to be resistant, to be resilient. Talk about contentment. Contentment, talk about gratitude. Gratitude. How well are you happy? Are you happy being that individual? Are you happy being that person where you are able to express yourself without fear, without judgment, without neglect or despair. Contentment, gratitude. Here it's mostly tied to the religious aspect of it, whereby we pay allegiance to our Creator, we pay our allegiance to Him, making us who we are today, and saying thank you, and all the praises and all the affirmations for us to show our contentment and gratitude. Last, we talk about boundaries. Talk about boundaries. What are your boundaries? Do you have boundaries? Do you set yourself boundaries, or rather you just accept everything? So for you to train yourself, you have to have your boundaries. You have to put your boundaries. You have to state that I don't want this. I don't think it's healthy for my mental health. I don't think this activity I'm about to engage myself into, or these words I'm trying to use to demoralize my neighbor, to able to take advantage of vulnerable persons. So you start bringing out limitations. You start saying boundaries and saying, no, I don't want it. Why? Because you realize that self-love, your unwavering self, your authentic self, is very much important to you than the external love you receive from people. So we have spoken on how we can train ourselves to be unwavering, how we can be authentic to ourselves. So if you're enjoying the session, just give a thumbs up in the comment section, and we're gonna talk about it and discuss. So in terms of the challenges we face in terms of this authentic self is comparison. We compare a lot. We compare. We say, I'm not satisfied by how I look. I feel like I'm too skinny. I feel like I don't have enough money. I feel my family is not financially stable like the other family. That means you look for loopholes. Loopholes for you to dwell on. And due to your comparison, due to your competition, you start getting yourself involved in activities, or involve yourself in activities that lead you to destruction, mental health. In terms of physical body, there is a limitation. So the challenge we face is comparison, competition. Let's do as much possible as best to always limit ourselves, to stop comparing and accept who we are. Another thing is criticism. So we criticize ourselves a lot. We say we are not intelligent enough. We are not smart enough. I feel and then you don't have a word to say, because you criticize yourself a lot. Do you think the younger generation is gonna be excited, or the younger generation is gonna say he's doing a good job because he's criticizing himself? Let me remind you that we are beings and we will come and go. People don't tell you that they are watching you, but actually they are watching you. Kids or the younger generation, you might talk to them, they will not listen to you, but they are watching you. Or they say sometimes words are not sufficient enough, but your actions will send a message when the words are insufficient. Okay? Another thing is about avoidance. We would like to avoid situations. We like to say, let me just avoid it. Avoid this situation, avoid the scenarios. Rather, why don't you learn how to control them? Why don't you learn how to control the situations in our life? Why don't you learn how to be able to be a master of our emotions? If you have been following us throughout the live streams, we started since 2020. We have been discussing about the terror barriers, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, the physical, the environment. I'm sure you're really familiar with these words. And throughout our live streams, we always mention that the environment has its role to play, and you have a role to play. So, if you plant a seed and you water it every day, obviously, it's gonna produce more. Okay, even if it's it's a poisonous seed, even it will still grow. It's for you to know: should I plant this seed or not? Should I uproot it or not? The environment is doing its own role by giving you the opportunity, but it relies on you to decide which one is important, yes or no. So that's what we've spoken about: the authentic self, your unwavering self. So that's what we had prepared for you for Sunday, but we couldn't make it. So that's all we have for you. Hope you've learned a lot. Hope you learn how to be happy or contented with yourself, and knowing that external love is an advantage. It's an added advantage, let's say, because you're already an advantage, being alive and being able to communicate, being able to participate in words, activities, daily activities, belonging in particular groups, particular organizations. It's an advantage to you. So an external love is an added advantage to you. And I will end this with a story. Which went by a friend of mine. Didn't actually say she was going through a lot. No, she didn't say so. What she did was, she just came and she was very moody. And I didn't know how to ask her or to make her engage or to express herself. What I did was, I just said, I'm very hungry. I want to go out. Are you hungry? She said, okay, let's go out and have lunch. Let's go out and have something to eat outside. And she didn't mind, so we went out and we sat. Yet she was still not happy or being relaxed, and I was still contemplating, how can I get information from her? How well can I know what's going on through her mind? How well can I be able to assist her in whatever she's going through? And unconsciously, she said, Pauline, I admire you. I like the way you do your things. I like how you are able to position better situations in your life and doesn't get to you, and you get so calm in things that are happening. But for me, it's a challenge. It gets the best of me. It makes me feel less important, less reliable. And throughout the time she was speaking, I realized that when she was talking to me, she had admiration, but to herself, she wasn't excited. She was unable to really say things out of a place of love. Okay. And what I did was, I said to her, Firstly, I am Pauline, and you are that person. I won't mention her name. You're that person. We have two different lives. We have two different scenarios. And we have two different places or where we grew up. Secondly, I said, I was not this girl before. I trained myself. I learned it. I built a space of resilience, of understanding, of courage. Thirdly, self-doubt is normal. Admiration is good, but to what extent? That will be a problem. To what extent that will be a problem? If you don't love yourself, if you don't accept your weaknesses, if you don't accept your points of failure, nobody will. Even your environment will feel as a threat to you, but rather it's not a threat to you. So let's go back to the story. She didn't tell me exactly what the point was, but rather her tone, her physical expression, her facial expression could tell a lot how she saw herself, how she could picture herself. One of the things I've learned in life is that if you don't accept yourself, nobody will. You can be in a room full of opportunities and you're the only person who has an answer. You're the only person who could change the room to be a lively room. Because of your self-doubt and lack of self-confidence, your room becomes the same as you were entering the room. So, in conclusion to our story, how we ended was she smiled and she said, "Oh, Pauline, thank you. I was not able to see myself in that light. I was not able to communicate with myself that often." And I said, okay, another story you can use is self-affirmation. Self-affirmation. How well do you say to yourself, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are intelligent, you are smart? How well do you do that? Everybody is fighting a battle. People have visible disability. Others have what? Invisible disability. So don't be fooled saying people have perfect life. No way. So it takes a lot of courage for people to tell you that I'm having this problem or I'm dealing with this problem. Learn how to be contented with yourself and build and train yourself to be individuals of resilience, resistance, courageous, pride, happiness. So I put a lot of your time, but I hope it made a lot of sense to you. And tomorrow is March, okay? Tomorrow is March. It's a new month. It's a new month. So my measure for you the next month is the room is full of opportunities. Don't limit yourself because of your lack of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. If you don't know something, ask. You'll be a fool for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. But you'll be the most intelligent person for the rest of your life. Those who laugh at you lack self-understanding. Someone who doesn't laugh at you and encourages you knows self-understanding, knows self-love. So be unwavering with yourself. Be unwavering with your authenticity. So I'll ask again. I keep saying the same thing. Don't mind. In the last session, I'll ask yourself, if you're being asked by a random bystander on a scale of 1 to 10, How much do you love yourself? Will you be satisfied with your response? Or will you be hiding the honesty of your thoughts? Do have a lovely end of month and lovely month of March. See you again next month. And do follow us on YouTube, Pauline Ngongang Official, on my daily write-ups, on my blog, Pauline Ngongang, on Instagram, Pauline Ngongang, and on Facebook, Pauline Ngongang. Alright, goodbye.